Welcome back, everybody. Max here with Cattle Hunting, and today we are going to talk a little bit about the recent developments in the silver markets. As you guys know, we had a pretty significant price dip of over $1 yesterday. So I wanted to talk about this and what opportunities that provides. Also want to talk a little bit about the still crazy premiums and also the Wallstreetsilver situation. So there's a lot to talk about. So let's just dig into it. So yesterday, silver took a pretty significant dip, went down over $1 US at times, and the reason again are the rising US Treasury yields. As you guys know, the rising Treasury yields usually have a bad influence on precious metal prices simply because the money usually flows where the interest is highest, and Treasury yields are one of the most stable investments. And if the interest is going up, usually more money flows into that sector. So gold and silver are not as attractive anymore as a storage of wealth, and people and money moves into the treasury yields. Usually, higher treasury yields are also something that is not so good for the economy because it obviously costs the governments more money. So that is why silver is usually hit harder by this than gold, which was the case again this time. Simply because silver is also an industrial metal, which is the main uh, price driving factor for the silver market. It's not the investment market. So silver usually gets hit by this pretty bad because an bad economic outlook will definitely reduce the demand for silver industrially, and therefore we have a significant dip in the price. On the other hand, we also had new COVID restrictions in Europe again yesterday, which dragged down the oil price, which also is a bad sign for the growth of the economy, and another reason why silver might have taken such a huge dip yesterday. So many people were like seeing this as an opportunity, and I see it too. But on the other hand, the premiums, especially online, stayed just as high or even went higher. I looked at a silver gold bull in Canada today, and we are talking about 40 around $41 for 1 ounce maple, which is just simply insane. We are still talking basically $10 or 25% over spot, which is a very high entry point. I went to my LCS yesterday, and as always, I don't really have any problems buying junk silver. I personally want to have the biggest bang for my buck, so I heavily focus on junk silver simply because it is usually so much cheaper. If the price is very close to each other, I prefer bullion, obviously, just because it's purer and easier to store. But on the other hand, I'm not really willing to spend 25% over spot to start my silver investment, and I have no problem finding junk silver, very recognizable US and Canadian junk silver, for very close to spot or actually at spot. So I do not really see a reason to pay those crazy premiums, and that is the first thing I want to talk with you guys about. If we have price dips like this, what recently happened was that the premiums just stay sky high, and basically there's no difference in the price. So people basically are telling, oh, the real price of silver is actually the spot price plus premiums, but that is simply not true. There's so many sources out there where you can actually go and buy silver for spot. You just have to pick the right silver. The premiums are mainly as high because the demand for silver bullion is so high right now, especially for the smaller investment size bullion. So what happens is that this is basically a classical supply and demand situation. The supply is low because the mints are producing at a normal pace or actually at a reduced pace due to the pandemic. And at the same time, we have a huge increased demand in investment silver this year. The numbers are not 100% out, but I've been talking to my coin shop owner and people like this who all basically say the same message, that the demand has been something they have not been seeing since the 80s, and that it is a very unprecedented situation. Um, but they still have silver. They just are running out of the 1 ounce coins and the 10 ounce bars and up to 100 ounce bars. But after that, there's still a lot of 1,000 ounce bars out there that you can buy for spot. And there's an endless amount of junk silver you can buy for spot, at least in the LCSs where I go. It is usually very much available cheaply, and that is how you can use those situations. If you look online right now, with the whole Wallstreetsilver thing going on, the demand is high, especially with the big online retailers, and all of those will keep their premiums up. So the first advice I can give you guys is do not buy online. It is unfortunately at the moment not a good idea. The demand is so high there that you will pay so much more for your silver than you will in your coin shop. At least that's the truth here in Canada. I don't want to speak for every coin shop in the world or something like this, but definitely here in Canada you already pay at least 10% for your save at least 10% purchasing your silver if you do not buy it online, but you buy it in your local coin store, in my opinion at least. Yeah, and that's a good transition to the whole Wallstreetsilver thing. I've been like looking through this thread. I have joined the thread just for fun too, but I think a lot of what is going on there is just a vast exaggeration of things. It is the usual phenomena that they take a little bit of truth and blow it out of proportion and make this huge conspiracy theory out of it, which I personally do not agree with. Um, I believe it will have definitely an influence on the silver market, especially if they continue to try to coordinate like silver rates like they're planning to do next week. But in the end, I think that the high demand is basically the driving force for the high premiums and the lack of investment silver right now. And I believe that silver is actually holding up quite well despite many factors actually speaking for silver to go down right now. And I'm very um, fascinated by the fact that we are still holding so strong at this $25-26 mark, even though I think that will change soon, because the factors that I value the highest in the silver price, or that move the silver price, is usually industrial measures. And we have seen that the US, for example, are planning to announce a huge infrastructural program, in basically investing into the economy like crazy. So that is definitely a driving force for the silver price, in my opinion. So I could see us having a situation later this year where basically the investment demand stays as high as it is and the industrial demand is kicking back in, because slowly but surely the world is going to go back to normal the more people are getting vaccinated and the more the world can open up again. So we will see increased economic growth, increased economic activity, and we will also see increased government investment in the direction of infrastructure, clean energies, electric cars, the structures and infrastructure you need for that kind of stuff. And that is definitely a bullish environment for silver, especially if the investment demand stays at the level that we had right now, because we have seen unprecedented investment demand. If we combine that with increased industrial demand, we could be in for a perfect storm for silver to actually go up significantly. And by significantly, I mean to something like 35 or 40 US dollars. I'm not a big believer in silver making any short-term crazy jumps. There's so much silver out there. I know people are talking about the shortage of silver, but what they actually mean by that is that there's a shortage of investment silver, and there is definitely not a shortage of silver. It is just a shortage of investment silver. You can see that you can still buy the 1,000-ounce bars. Once those things run out, are out of stock, then is a point where I actually believe there's a shortage of silver, but I don't believe that at this point. I also believe that the very high copper price will increase the supply, because silver is usually a side product in copper mining, and that's how most silver actually gets mined. So by increased copper prices, we will see a mid to long-term increased copper production, because more mines are becoming profitable, which then again will increase the silver production. But then again, that just increases or like speeds up the time we still need until we have accessed most easily accessible silver, which is almost the case already. So for me, this opportunity right now is just one that presents itself to spend a little bit less on my silver. So I'm super happy with dips like this. I do not expect at all to get a great return on my silver investment short term. I'm not a big believer in that. I'm more aiming for a mid to long term investment, and I believe that dips like this are exactly where you want to spend your money and where you want to buy some more silver. Even though I personally believe we could see a little bit more of a dip in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of pressure on gold right now, which is traditionally kind of connected to silver, even though that is changing quite a little bit recently. But I believe that the higher treasury yields and especially the presence of Bitcoin are very dangerous for gold. So I can see gold plummeting a little bit, or not plummeting, but going down significantly under the $1,700 mark where we are now. And silver is very often considered gold's yeah, the poor man's gold. So silver very, very often follows with those circles. But I actually read an analogy recently that said silver is actually the rich man's copper, and that is something that struck me, and is something that I believe is much, much more true than silver being poor man's gold nowadays, because silver is getting more and more, yeah, a decisive metal in the industrial sector, and the investment percentage is going down. So I'm pretty I think that is a very, very good analogy and a very, very good description long term. I want to use this opportunity. That's why yesterday I basically traded a gold coin for silver. There was definitely the lowest silver gold ratio that we had in a long time. And I cut a deal that I was very, very happy with. So that's how I try to take advantage of situations like this. Play the ratio if you have a chance. And on top of that, this is a good moment to buy, unless you buy online and you pay those kind of premiums. Go out there, grind a little bit. You can go to any LCS and just ask for some junk silver. I personally think that is something that people should advise many stackers more. I think many of those newer stackers that I see, for example, on the Wallstreetsilver threads, they will usually buy bullion and they will not even look at the price. They will not even look at premiums. I see so many people posting purchases there where I can almost just shake my head that people are ready to just blindly pay those prices rather than trying to grind a little bit and find better places. For example, I'm sure that if you are willing to spend a significant amount of money at the LCS, you will get much, much, much better deals that you can find online anywhere. Yeah, I want to close with that, guys. Be careful where you pick your silver, and just because silver is going down right now, or we have the silver squeeze going on, just don't blindly buy it. I'm not a fan of that. I think in the end that hurts your stack a lot. And also another thing I saw is people buying crazy supplies for their silver bullion. I see people buying clear capsules for more than $1 each for regular silver maples and American eagles and stuff like this. And that is just another thing that I would strongly recommend not to do, because those kind of costs add up. It basically costs you $1.50 or $1 per capsule, and that is almost 5% on top of your purchase. So it's a unnecessary way to stack silver. Those coins are not super rare and super valuable. Those coins are purely there for their silver value. So I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. Junk silver is for me much more attractive because I am into silver as a material. I believe that that is why I stack silver. I believe that silver will long term be a great investment, just because the demand is high and the supply is going to get lower and lower with time. And I also believe silver is not replaceable in any of the electrical applications we are using it for, and I actually believe that the demand for that is going to go up quite a bit. So guys, I hope you learned something today and you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. That would help me out a lot. And if you could drop a like, that would also be awesome. I will be back on Saturday or Sunday for my weekly junk silver update. I hope the prices stay low or even get a little bit lower until the weekend, so I can get a bit more bang for my buck. But stay strong, guys. Those kind of fluctuations that we had this week are normal, and it is part of the game, and it should, if anything, motivate you to increase your stack rather than panicking and waiting for silver to make a jump to the moon kind of move. Have a good one, guys, and be safe.